Good evening and good morning to everybody. Namaskar. Good evening to those who are listening to us right in India, and good morning to those who are listening all around from the world. I, Dr. Nehal Shah, Assistant Professor, Biotech Department, Sri Ramakrishna Institute, based at Surat, and Director at Association of Zoologists, heartily welcome you all in our live YouTube series related to success stories for zoology alumni. And on behalf of the association, I am extremely grateful for all the people who are really giving us an encouraging word and encouragement towards the platform that we are trying to enhance for the zoologist here. So, before I begin the journey with our today's guest and invite her on our platform, let me introduce you all to what AOZ, Association of Zoologists, is all about. So, it is an NPO, non-profit organization under the Company Act 2013, and it's not a very old association. We are still in the beginning of establishing it on a larger scale. It just got established officially as a registered NPO in December 2019, and we have recently completed 3 years of our association. These are all our board of directors, and this is our vision to provide prominent platform and represent our subject, that is zoology, animal science, all over the world and in India. We also have a council so that the functioning of the association can be smoothly handled and can be smoothly taken care of. So here you can see we have the president, and we also have general secretary, joint secretary, we have a treasurer along with that. Because the beginning of the association is all the way from Gujarat, we have decided to allow the participation coming from different zones, and that's the reason the Gujarat state has been divided into five major categories, and each category has their own representatives. This is purely for the better functioning of our association. These are our aims, objectives, mission. So we really look forward to enhance the capacity of young zoologists. We want to advocate zoology wherever and whenever possible. We want to strengthen our bonds with other allied subjects, and we also look forward for transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary research actions and collaborations with respect to animal science with other subjects. These are our few of the objectives. So those who are new to us, now please look forward to Zoology Association and do join hands to us. You can also become members. Those who have joined us live, you can put your questions in the comment box today, so that we can pick up your comments and we can also share your question to our today's guest. So friends, this is what I had to share to you about our association. And now let me introduce you all to our guest. So let me invite her. We have with us Dr. Manisha Sutaria. She has been joining us all the way around from US. It's morning. Good evening, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, good evening. Uh,
Yes. So maybe I know what's the time over there.
8:35 a.m. Sunday.
Oh, that's good. So here it's evening, exactly the opposite. So we are so much grateful to you. You took time to join in this early morning, that too on a holiday. And that itself shows your dedication towards the subject and obviously your home country. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you're very happy to get connected to India once again through this platform.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, I am.
Yeah, yeah. So a warm welcome to you, ma'am, on behalf of our association. So it's also a part and parcel of your subject, and you are a part of AOZ as well.
Mhm.
So, friends, before I start asking questions about Manisha ma'am's journey today, let me tell you something about her. who she is and how she has come to the United States this long away. So she did her BSc, MSc zoology from Gujarat University, Ahmedabad, in somewhere in 1996, 1998. She cleared her PhD in life science. Her topic was significance of cytogenetic studies in chronic myeloid leukemia. And thereafter, the journey doesn't stop. Actually, then the journey continues. So she had been working a lot with cancer, Gujarat Cancer and Research Institute, Ahmedabad. From there, she moved to Texas and she was working over there as a fish and senior cytogeneticist in Texas Tech Health Science Center. And again, she kept on switching for better and better opportunities. She went to Seattle Children's Hospital, Washington, USA. She had been establishing the complete lab, fish CLS cytogenetics laboratory for this hospital. And presently, she is the one who is working now in Cooper University Hospital. She has a huge experience of undertaking teaching and management, supervising, and managing the whole lab, setting up the whole lab, and also finding out the regulatory compliances for the different rules and regulations related to the genetic laboratories. So she has a huge experience in the field of oncocytogenetics as well as cytogenetics, and she has done pioneering work on fish and multicolor fish, particularly in Gujarat. So you are meeting a person who has really been a challenging, no, who has picked up a challenging area during those times. Today we have very good laboratory facilities, we have very good techno savvy internet facilities available. But I'm sure when the ma'am must have started her journey, things would have been very, very different from that point of view. And her journey doesn't end up here. She holds very many licenses for molecular biology scientist, clinical cytogenetic scientist. She is a US board, holding a US board certification as well. And she holds lots of international national publication also. So I think if I keep on talking about her achievements and her professional skills, we will lose the time to actually hear to her. So let's not do that, and let's directly talk to her so that we can listen what exactly her experiences are all about. So again, a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Your profile indicates you have gone through so much of
Yeah.
stuff and in so many different areas. So, my first question to you for the day is, how did you decide that you want to go for zoology? What made you decide that, okay, I can take BSc zoology?
Okay, so it's the era when it was very difficult to get into the MG Science Institute. It was the one of the best colleges of Ahmedabad, and math is not my type, So I got into the PCB, physics, chemistry, biology, and I liked biology in first year. It was a huge class of 150, and then the in second year it was like you can choose your major. So that was the era where people wanted to always go to microbiology and be doing after doing MLT they wanted to be in pathology lab, and second one was the biochemistry, but it was a very competitive, and very few students, there were like very few seats available at that time, and then the options were like botany, zoology, geology, and so on. So I took zoology, botany, and zoology as my major. Until then, I was not known much about zoology, and people, when I chose that subject, people were like, "What are you gonna do with zoology? Are you gonna work in a zoo or in an aquarium? What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I don't know." Let me check. I don't know. And then I entered to the world of zoology where I met wonderful, dedicated, passionate teachers. Dr. Pratima Madam Joshi, Dr. Parmar Madam. Momin sir, Ray madam, Anil Patel sir, all wonderful teachers. They were super dedicated. And even in my second year, I got more marks in botany. My botany professors wanted me to be in botany, but I chose zoology because of teachers and the subject. Because in second year, we had to do certain dissections, and also there was a calotes, and I am so afraid of lizards and calotes, and I'm like, I can't do this. And my teacher was like, come here dear, what's the problem? I'm like, no, I cannot do this. And she's like, okay, take a deep breath, have this lemon juice, go around to the college and come back, and then you can see like how it changed my perception to the zoology subject, and a love for the zoology and all study tours, and also during the classes the way they were teaching. I changed my perception totally, the view, like how you take the zoology as a subject. And we always forget that in animal kingdom, human being is also an animal. We are mammals, right? So it's not only about animals, it's all about life, nature. So that's the way I got into the major in third year, and also to the master program in
Yeah.
zoology.
So this is what we commonly hear, that zoology means it's all about animals, nothing more. And if you want to make a career, you can only make a career going in wildlife. So
Yeah.
many students, they actually also hesitate because they feel that it has very limited career options. Even today, this is a grave issue, that they feel that if I'm not comfortable with animal, how can I work with animal? So we are still facing that problem. So students, you can see, she is a lab person. You can, if you really are thrilled of working in some good laboratories, you can make a career in laboratories and you never have to go to field. So
Yeah.
zoology in wider area, it provides you field as well as it provides you lab opportunity as well. And
Yeah,
it's
because
not
in the
necessary.
second year, in sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
in a master program, again, School of Sciences, wonderful college and wonderful professors. Dr. Chinoy, I should take her name, super nice teacher. Dr. Nayan K. Jain, Dr. Haisin ma'am, Rishad Parvez sir, Rawal sir. And in second year, it was not like you go further into zoology. There were three different subjects to choose: reproductive biology, fisheries, and cell biology and cytogenetics. So again, most of the students were going to fisheries. Some students were with reproductive biology, but reproductive biology was like Chino madam, very strict madam. And cell biology was Dr. Jain sir. Jain sir, super, super nice sir. Even my main challenge was like, because till 12th grade, I was in Gujarati medium, and going to again in English medium totally. Professors help us a lot, like sometimes if we need to understand in our own language or something, providing books, notes, everything. So it was very wonderful. And cell biology and cytogenetics, we they were providing like three karyotypes, and that's how I loved cytogenetics, and that's how I am in cytogenetics for all these years. So
Yes, yes,
again,
very true.
thankful to the teachers and institutions.
Yeah, yeah. Teachers have their own contribution always.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
as you shared about calories, because we come across students who also have an mental ethical conflict about whether why we are making them undergo dissection. And now India has banned doing dissections. No, you're not allowed to do dissections. But because you have yourself undergone an experience, I would also like you to tell whether you feel that there is a need of dissections even today. Does it actually help you in your study?
I would say, of course, the emotional aspect is always there. We were also like very sad when we had to do pigeon. So our class was like decided, okay, just do one pigeon, and the rest of the pigeon we just like, okay, let them go. So it does help in a sense. I would say you can see what actually you have. You can see little beating heart. You can see circulatory system. You can see all kind of system anatomy, pathol. I mean everything you can see. But again, there is I'm emotional person, so I'm like, I don't want to kill anyone. But if we have some kind of little fake dissection kind of kits available, or we can produce something like that, it will be really helpful for them to check. But nowadays, in internet era, I would say they can see online what actually it is
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we always have this question whether dissections should be reintroduced at some level or not. So
Mhm.
that is the reason I was asking, because without understanding animal system, it becomes very, very difficult to actually continue the subject at some level.
Yeah.
So, going forward with your journey, can you just share like how you landed up into becoming a cytogeneticist? See, choosing a subject is different, and doing a PhD altogether in a subject is something really different, because you need to work a lot, into that area, and it's a specialization altogether. So, how was your journey of selecting the subject for your PhD?
So, because my specialization in master program was cell biology and cytogenetics, and I loved chromosomes at that time because teacher, the way she taught, like, oh, find out a little bow on some chromosome and little boots. So it was little fascinating. And then incidentally, I met my brother's friend who was in the cytogenic lab. Till then, I was thinking everything is available in foreign countries, not in India, but actually it was right in my city. So Gujarat Cancer and Research Institute, where I worked for around 15 years, she was working there, and I asked her, "Oh, so you know chromosomes? You work on chromosomes? Can I work on chromosomes too?" And she said, "Oh, I can just forward your resume." So after certain months, I got a call from GCRI for a research project. It was about head and neck cancer and using radio sensitivity and cytogenetic endpoints. So I got selected for junior research fellow job. And my first day was in darkroom to develop chromosomes. That time the systems were not available, so we were doing all like manual work. We printing the photographs, cutting the photographs, making karyotypes out of those. So that was that era, and that created a lot of interest in me. My mentors were there, Dr. S.K. Roy, Dr. Sonal Bakshi. So they were very good. And the lab itself was established in early 70s, and they did a pioneer work in pan masala toxicity. And because of that lab, we have now the little warning on pan masala, even in the sada pan masala, like without tobacco. So lab had done a lot. So that inspired us a lot, and I loved that. I loved chromosomes. So I decided to be in that subject. And then later on, because I always already was in as a co-investigator in many projects and had many publications even before PhD. So our professor who recently passed away, director Dr. Shilin Shukla, asked us to join PhD. You don't want to go for PhD? I'm like, yes, we do. And then I did my PhD under Dr. Prabhudas Patel, who was in biochemistry department, and he was my mentor at the time and now too. So that's how I started my PhD in CML. CML because I was already had a project, like I was a co-investigator in that project, and also I love Philadelphia chromosome. That, and actually that chromosome paved a way to targeted therapy. So simple case report. It was a very fascinating journey of Philadelphia chromosome, like how a single chromosomal abnormality paved a way to targeted therapy. So that was the reason I liked of CML, and also the fish patterns. It was not all about having a normal translocation or negative or positive. It was many times you see variants. So what variants do to the patient and the treatment outcome. So that fascinated me a lot. Many literature search, and I was keep reading, and I loved that subject. So I did my PhD on that. That's how I ended up with that subject.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sure, because it's very difficult for during that time, even today, but definitely during that time, you must have found it difficult as a girl approaching a subject like cytogenetics, and then surviving, and then doing a PhD. So were there any challenges which you faced in doing it technically, or no, not getting the samples, or not getting the support, or people discriminating somewhere, something like that?
I would say I was a little bit fortunate on that side because GCRI always been a good institute to us. The challenges with the specimens never, because it was a that time actually that Max Foundation started this Gleevec drug trials, and before that it was interferon alpha trials, and we always had like many patients in the institute. Challenges in terms of like sometimes Madline search, and that time internet was not that popular. I mean, even I never knew that how to use the internet. Actually, my coworker and my brother, I can say Dr. Samat, who is even in who did PhD in same subject, who taught me how to use the internet. And till then we were used to do Madline, like go to the Madline, search the, and then the library was very nice. So I was always used to wait for the journals, like two journals, Cancer Genetics and Cytogenetics, and Genes Chromosome Cancer. So both journals always like wait for it. Okay, we have to wait for that. So that was one. Second one, being married and woman and a mother of a little kid. At that time my son, when I was doing PhD, my son was around 4 or 5, so it was a little challenging. That time we had to put in a daycare, and but again family support, co-worker support, institution mentor, everything matters. And yeah, you have to, because we had to, it was not just a diagnostic lab, or it was not just a research lab. We had to participate in many things, educational activities, cancer awareness programs, publication writing, academics, you name it. Like students were used to come for summer program or pathology residents, students for dissertation. I was used to do like as a co-guide for dissertation students, many things. Like, so to get a time for PhD was like I had to do when I was free, and especially at night. So
Yeah.
I print all publication, I mean manuscripts, come home at night, read it. So that was the thing. I would not say challenges because I love reading, but again, you have to spare little time to do those things.
Yeah, so those who are listening, please make a note. You have to read.
Yes.
There is no option. You have
Yeah.
to read.
And sometimes
So,
when even in Madeline nothing was available, some journals were not free. I was used to email the author that I am a student from blah 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 country. I have no money to buy this publication. Can you please send me your manuscript? And they were super kind. They did actually.
yeah, that's really good. So, how has your journey been from graduate to postgraduate and then PhD student? Would you like to give some tips to those who are aspirants towards PhD students? What kind of things from your own experience you feel that students should do these many things and it's little bit easy to develop their career?
Of course, first of all, when you are studying, be in touch with your teachers. They are the great resources for whatever you want to do. Even for my PhD registration, there was a problem because my master was in zoology. I wanted to do in life science, and cancer falls under the life science, certain like that kind. So Professor Jain, Dr. Jain helped me a lot. Like. Even my friend Devendra C. Jala, he helped me a lot too. So reach out to your professors, resources, read a lot, open your eyes and check around. Nowadays, like there are many platforms available on internet like LinkedIn where you can reach out to the specialist. They do answer. Um, Love what you do, and be passionate. Keep trying, keep learning. Wherever you see any opportunity, just take that opportunity. Sometimes we think, what I'm going to do with that. No, you never know how it will help you in future. So be consistent, what you do.
Yeah, yeah. So, on because you are sharing about the activities, I think one of the activity of poster presentation switched you towards US. So, would
Yes.
you like to share about that? How your US journey started?
Yeah, in 2014, actually, there was a ISHG, Indian Society of Human Genetics conference, and it was organized by Freed Center, Dr. Franny Shade and Dr. Jay Shade. So I presented my poster there. I met a scientist and also my co-worker and a senior colleague, Dr. Rakesh Rawal, who is in Gujarat University. He introduced me to some doctor, and he said, "Oh, do you want to come to US?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can try." I was thinking, "Oh, it's not a real thing. It's every like everybody wants to say that, and nothing happens." And he gave me one paper and said like, "Why don't you apply on this website?" I'm like, "Okay." I did, and actually, it happened. Next day, they took my interview and they said, "Okay, so you're good to go. We will provide you the visa sponsorship, and you can come." So in 2014, I landed to Texas Tech University Health Science Center as a senior cytogeneticist.
So, see, friends, you should participate in conferences, seminars, and symposia. You got to see so many people around, and this is how maybe some opportunity clicks for you. So,
Mm-hmm.
not to underestimate your participation in
Mm-hmm.
these kind of platforms. Many students they feel that we don't have a research. Why to go for a 1 day workshop or something? But I think from your example, it sets in that it's a good idea to actually go and do this kind of presentations. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
something picks up. So good to know that you got an opportunity and it actually clicked, and you are somewhere now in US. So I also read into your this particular resume that you had been taking training in Greece and in Germany. So can you share something about that? What was
Yes.
your experience with Germany and what the training was over there? And
Yeah.
same with Greece.
Yeah, so in Greece, actually, I was being invited as a for exchange of expertise. It was a private lab in Greece, but it was a very huge lab, I would say, as per the specimen numbers. And they were doing at that time constitutional, and they wanted to start some with the leukemia cytogenetics. So I went there. Actually, it was such a nice experience how other people are helping up like across the border. And Dr. Harry Contes, who helped me a lot on that, and I learned many things like molecular biology over there and constitutional side of, because my experience was always been with cancer. This time I had an opportunity to work on a constitutional cases and how to do monolayer cultures and how they treat actually case reports and patients and patient reports, how they do internationally. So it was a great opportunity. It was a very learning experience, and again, to be in some international lab, it provides you that different kind of confidence, that because every lab has their own SOPs, it works everywhere, but then you come to know like there are many ways to do it. And when you are on your cases, when you want to do some troubleshooting or something, it is really really helpful. So that was the about Greece. So I learned about constitutional cases.
So you were in Greece how for how long? How long
one
period?
month 1 month
1 month. And
one
you
month
went all alone. How are you taking care about your family then?
So my husband was used to take care of my son.
Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah,
but you managed to go to Greece for a month's time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, how old was he? Your son was when you were in Greece.
So he was around, I would say, 5 or 6. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hard for a mother to manage. So, girls, she's also an example of women empowerment. You
yeah.
can see
It was
she did
hard
her
to.
PhD already. She did her PhD when her baby was very, very young. She
Mhm.
was doing her PhD, and then she went to US after getting married, having a kid, and then taking the training in Greece when her child was young. So you can do it. It's not impossible to achieve these kind of things. And how was your journey for Germany?
So Germany was like it was an invitation from probe making company Cytovision. So where we learned about how they make the probes, fish probes, different kind of fish probes, and also FFP, SISH, chromogenic in situ hybridization, SISH, silver in situ hybridization. They taught us all those kind of techniques. So it was really helpful and very knowledgeable because to make a probe, actually I made probes when I was doing my PhD, like starting from the scratch, using bacterial steps to do the precipitation of fish probes, and I used in my studies. But again, when you see at the commercial level, like how they produce probes in like as a factory, so it was really helpful to understand actually how fish probes works, and I mean in detail, like even chromogenic in situ hybridization, SISH. So those are the techniques where you don't need fluorescence microscope, you can do under the bright field microscope. So that was the thing. Yeah, it was really helpful.
So most of the students, they always have a question that for all these kind of international trainings, or going there and getting trained, or going for a workshop, are very costly affairs. So how are you managing these kind of stuff?
So I would say for Greece, actually, because I was there for 1 month, they provided me the travel expenses. So you can request for always. Um, Second, Germany was the same way because it was a vendor sponsored program. So they provided us everything. But there are some grants. I think when I was in India, I knew that there are some grants available on ICMR or some website that you can ask for the this kind of expenses or fellowship, international fellowship program. So that can be useful to get the expenses out of that. And again, for example, European cytogenetic workshop, workshop, it's for 2 months somewhere in France, and they provide like student travel award. So
Okay.
you can apply for that as well. So there are things you have to search a little bit, you have to reach out the organizers, whether they can provide, at least you can try. I would not say they will always give you, but you can always try. There are many ways to do it. So you have to, again, you have to work and do your homework before you apply for anything.
Yes, yes. And nowadays there is a trend of for students, many look forward to go abroad, and there is always a question whether our Indian degrees are considered abroad or not for further studies or for job purpose. So you, because you have been into US for such a long period of time now, I would like you to throw some light onto it. Did they consider your PhD, or you were supposed to do some further 1 year trainings or some programs for getting the jobs that you are into?
So, in terms of cytogenetic field, I would say no, I never had to do anything. Actually, when they provide you this H1B sponsorship, they go for an educational evaluation. And that time you had to submit your transcripts and everything. And my PhD from Gujarat University, and I'm so proud of that, that is equivalent to US PhD. So, I never had to do anything. For the compliance point of view, because of this board certification, you have to work in CAP accredited lab for 1 year, and for PhD it's 9 months. So after working for 9 months, very next day I took the exam, and it was wonderful because you have to study. Of course, you have to study, but it was not that hard. After
Okay.
work, I was used to study, and you get your certification, and you are good to go. And once you have the certification, any lab can hire you because it's a requirement of CAP compliance.
Yes, yes. So usually that is also a question that you don't get into your own field immediately when you are going abroad. It's very tough. So was it the same for you, that it was little bit challenging to find what exactly you were looking for?
No, actually, I came on H1B work visa, so I was directly landed into the lab, cytogenetic lab. But I would suggest students because nowadays they don't want to do certain extra work. They don't want to. Not all students, but like they want to do everything very fast. They want everything right there. So I would suggest them to go for volunteership. If they go for volunteership, it will allow them to sneak into the lab or anywhere they want to go, and that is the time where they can show their expertise, their skills, their hard work, dedication. And there are examples that people doing volunteership. I have a friend who is in Australia who went through the PR or something visa, and she was looking for a job. She did PhD, same cytogenetics in my department. I was a co-guide, and she did volunteership, and then now she's a manager in clinical trials. So it helps. Go for volunteership, go for extra work. You can ask for like, can I work, just can I learn something, can I, just approach them. Sometimes we are like, no, no, they are going to say no, but at least you can try, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's the thing. So
Okay,
go.
so you're talking about doing a voluntaryship, something into a university or a laboratory, or
Yes,
that kind of an area,
yes, you can
which you
reach
feel
out.
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
which you feel that maybe that can help you create the career pathway for you.
Yeah, because in US everything goes by references. Mostly, if you know someone, they can refer you to certain job or they can refer you for something. So if you do volunteership, you come to know about your seniors or people around or in that subject. So it's easy to get in. They
Okay,
can
okay.
trust you rather, I would say.
Yeah. And from teachers' point of view, I would like to know that there is a different set of work culture in other countries and in our country. So you have seen both, as you
Yeah.
have been working in India as well as now working in abroad. So what kind of tips you would give to those aspirants who are newly into zoology teaching or into this kind of fields, and they want to go abroad, or they are really struggling? So what kind of tips you would give to them?
I would say you have to, because zoology is a vast subject. There are many, many different subcategories. You need to know like what you want to do first of all, what you like, and then you have to reach out different people, different institutes, check for them, and again, whatever is latest, again reading. Go for the journal reading or internet search. PubMed is the good example where you can search different papers and they provide the author affiliation. You can write them a letter about your interest or something, guidance. Many journals publish vacancies like as a postdoc, or you can apply for that. So those are the thing, and to be in the latest trend, it's a tip I would say, because if you are aware about what is happening around, you will be more to get into that field.
Yes, yes, that's really
Mhm.
important for everybody to know that what kind of trends are going on, and
Mhm.
accordingly they can approach to go forward.
Mhm.
So, what are the differences between the kind of educational profile now going on abroad, and you feel that that kind of thing should be done in India?
I think nowadays, even Indian institutes and even private labs have very good setup, I would say. And one, because I had an experience from Indian lab, education from Indian institute, I mean university, I never had any issue. And sometimes even I cannot say that, but I was good what I was doing. So um, to have some training programs, to visit them to different institutes, to have a look like how they do what they do. So that's the thing I would say. That's what your question was about, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay. So the more of trainings and more of workshops, I think would help them give the hands-on, skills that everybody
Yes.
is looking forward for this kind of field. And what are your tips related to research? If somebody is in wants to explore more research, what do you think? How the students should start approaching? Like they don't have any planning presently for PhD or maybe
Mhm.
postdoc, they are still in masters or maybe BSc, and how they should like study their subject so that they can have more better opportunities in research.
So basically, for research, you have some hypothesis. For that, you have to read what already have been done. And research is a creativity, all about creativity, and through the creative way, you search whatever is already there. So and creativity comes from freedom. So if you think out of box, it's like always people say what is out of box, but like you have to think a little bit different, or whatever your results are, you have to try to find out like why it happened. So before, I would say nowadays, like for example, in one lab, they were doing a microarray. I asked the tech, so how you label your probes? What is the principle? Oh, I press the button. I'm like, no, that's not an answer. What is the technique behind labeling the probe, random priming, or what is the way you label your probe? And no, I just hit the button label. No, so what you do, you need to understand why you are doing what you are doing and what is the mode of action of anything. So that actually helps a lot, and that makes them think more. So you have to go to the basics, what you learned before.
Yes, so
And even
fundamentals should be very clear.
yes, yes,
They
that's
have to pay more attention on the fundamentals.
yes.
That should
So
be very clear.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And ma'am, I also came to know that you had a challenge of establishing a complete cytogenetic lab in US. So how was your experience for that?
So in 2019, I joined Loma Linda University, and during the interview, they said, "Oh, we want to start this lab since 3 years, and can you please help us uh, to start this lab?" And I said, "Yeah." So from I started from the scratch, like writing forms, SOPs, establishing, doing validations, parallel validation, because we were used to send out specimens to Mayo Clinic, so we had to like split this specimen and run parallelly. So of course, when you do validation, because validation is very very important before you go to the clinical cases, real cases, because that's the way you know like what is your outliers, how it will work, any troubleshooting. You cannot just try and start working on patient samples. So validation is the main thing of the starting a lab. Then with the compliance, CLIA and CAP compliance, because CAP has a checklist that what you should do and what you should not do. You cannot do certain things, and certain things if you are doing, you have to follow for your all cases the same way. You cannot tweak little bit. If you do, you have to write it up. So everything is documentation, validation. So that is very very important, like fish validations. So you know, oh, fish works, the principle is fish is like denaturation of DNA and probe DNA, you hide them and you see the signals. No, it's not all about that. Even not about like positive and negative results. You have to go through all signal patterns which you see in normal condition, because they are false. Because in interface, DNA is like as a chromate, like as the stretches. So there are chances they sit side by side and you see little fusion, and that's not the real fusion. So how you so you have to create a cutoffs for all kind of signal patterns. So that's the thing, that was the huge thing to do. And we started with the multiple myeloma panel. I decided to start with that panel because we were used to send specimens to Mayo Clinic, and that is because for multiple myeloma you have to do magnetic sorting, and for that they use CD138 expression, and by the time specimen age, it loses its expression. So you have to do very fast. So I started with that panel so we can do in-house successful results, and it helped actually. Our all cases, I don't think we had ever failure on that. And when we were used to send out, yeah, because of the technical things you have to, so you have to think like what you have to plan first. You have to do billing part, your computer build, what LIS system you are going to use, and how it will show up for the reports. Those kind of things you have to take care. And I think I joined in February 2019, and we were live for different tests in September 2019. So
Oh, pretty fast.
pretty
Yeah.
fast, but it was like back to back, back to back. And again, our team was a small team, like myself and two techs. That's the way we started. So it was techs were wonderful, very wonderful.
Yeah, so a lot of hard work is required for such kind of things.
Yeah.
So I'm sure somewhere in the whole of your journey, you must have come across some lows someday. So how did you then lifted up yourself?
uh, Meditation. Quiet the mind. Sometimes you feel frustrated because in United States you cannot do certain, you cannot like your expression should remain nice.
Consistently
Even
same.
though you are like you want to punch someone, but you have to be nice. So you have to go outside, have a deep breath, come back and with a fresh, or just pause when you don't feel like oh, I may make mistake. Oh, I'm tired, I'm frustrated. Don't do that that time. Just take a little break, have a juice, and come back and do it. That's what I was. Or next day, because one day will not. It's not a big deal. I mean, you have certain turnaround time period, so it's not big deal. You can do it next morning with a fresh mind. So that's what I would say. But don't quit. Just take a
Yes,
pause.
yes.
Take a pause.
So,
Yeah.
friends, you can see her journey. She has been consistently trying to do the work. So it's not getting success in a day. It's about working for long, consistent years. Then you get established as a scientist. So those students who are looking and aspiring to become good scientist, good zoologist, give time to yourself and have patience. Just don't lose the hope. It's a long journey to go, but you do succeed. And you know we would like to see you people just like her someday on to our channel. So please get this thing straight. Be extremely consistent about your work. And we are open to the questions as well. So those who are listening to us, please feel free to put your questions and comments in the comment box, and I can take up those questions, and Manisha ma'am can answer your questions right now and when she's present with us. On the screen you can also see the email ID of Association of Zoologists. So those who are still not members and would like to avail the benefits of becoming a member, please give us your details onto the email and we'll send the form to you for the membership right away. Um, uh, Ma'am, on this note, I would like you to tell us that during this whole journey of becoming a cytogeneticist or a scientist in the field of cell biology, did your BSc, MSc zoology education, as in formal education, supported you, helped you somewhere in growing as a cell biologist?
Yes, of course, because my second year specialization was in cell biology and cytogenetics. So during our this time, they were used to give us three karyotypes to cut. So they showed us like how to do the cell culture, all cell biology, like different aspect of cell, starting from the plasma membrane to all kind of parts of different. I mean, cell. And yeah, it was a good course actually, and that's the way that's the reason I'm in cytogenetic. That's how I got to know about cytogenetics. So otherwise it was been different way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And how about the different subjects, anatomy, physiology, animal studies that you took up, that is supporting you in studying cancer,
Yes, yes,
oncogenetics and
yes.
all?
Yes, yes, it did actually, because I think signal transduction, Dr. Chinoy was used to take that class, and it was very amazing too. Delta 4, Delta 5 pathway about hormones, circulatory system, comparative anatomy. So yes, in your core, it's right there. Even though you never realize, oh, I had that. Even biochemistry, genetics, even at BSc level, we had used to have like JL Jain book, and RL Kotpal was all about animals, but
Yes.
Chatterjee, Guyton. I was
Mhm.
so proud, like, because we were used to read those books, which they use in first year of medical medicine program.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it was not, as I said, it was not all about animals only. It was about human aspects as well. I mean, most of them
Yes.
were the same thing. So we have a misconception that it's all just you see animals and work in a zoo or an aquarium. No, yeah, it did help. It did help. Yeah.
Yes, so students, zoology is not only about working in zoo or aquarium, it's more than that.
Of,
And your basics do help you somewhere. So
yes.
even if you choose a specific core area somewhere, whatever you have studied at your BSc, MSc, post graduation, graduation levels, it's really going to be useful to you somewhere in your future. So don't undermine that this is not going to be helpful at all. It's
Oh
really
yeah.
something which is very useful.
And many zoologists, even we had a very big class, around 39 to 40 students in our master program. And I think most of them are at very good places at that. You can have a long series of this interview series, even from just Gujarat University School of
Yeah.
Sciences. I bet you. So my classmates, they are doing really, really great at Indian level and in India and also to abroad. So yeah, there are many stories. I would say um, I'm very thankful to you and Dr. Devendra Sijala, because he got he told me to just get connected with this association, and I got chance to revisit my core, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, on that note, ma'am, would you also suggest, or you want to suggest something, how the teachers who are mentoring presently, as in zoology subject, what kind of improvements or change they should now go with, looking to the new trends of the world?
So, first of all, I would say be a loving teacher. I mean, the way I had my teacher, like even at NG Science and at Zoology Department, they were very good teachers. They are very good teachers, actually. So we never had to like think, oh, I don't want to go there. We were very excited always. We had many good memories as well. Like in third year, our Momin sir, he was used to come from Dholka, so he will get this jamfar. It's very
Yeah,
famous. In a season, 2 3 times. બચ્ચાઓ તમારા માટે આ લાવ્યો છું. બધાએ ખાવાના છે લાઈક પ્રતિમા મેડમ અમે જઈએ તો કે બેટા શું બહુ વીક લાગે છે એટલે આ શીંગ ખા થોડી યુ નો સો ટીચર્સ પણ જો એવા અપ્રોચેબલ હોય તો સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ વિલ નોટ feel that way like uncomfortable like whether should I go. They should not fear of teachers, they should come very easily to you. So that's the one thing. Second thing, you have to be updated because nowadays students are more intelligent because they have everything on their palm top internet. They can counter question you, so you have to be more updated than them. So because nowadays it's more challenging because they know everything. In my era we had like RL Kotpal, these books, that's it. Or you can go to, even in master program we had Leininger, these, and every books were with professors. They will give you to study and everything, but you have to go a little bit earlier than your class so they can provide you the books. But otherwise, and library of course, but otherwise nowadays it's everything is available. They can get from
yes.
everywhere. So teachers have to be more updated and they have to study more even before going to class. That's what I would say. And I would say mentor them like as a kid. I mean your own kid, I would say.
Yeah, that's really, really very important. So you have also been teaching in India, and when you were in India, and you also had a teaching experience abroad. So do you see any generation differences of what kind of students you see in US and what kind of students are there in India?
So when I was used to study, like some teachers were very, very strict. You cannot enter even class after your thing. Some teachers were like Rawal sir was always, "Ow, ow, kahin wanto nahi." Chinga madam was super, super strict. She will just shut the door and you like we were shaking all the time. But she was wonderful teacher. Um, Nowadays the trend, I would say, like when I took my first class in medicine, students were whatever the way they like, they were sitting. Somebody's doing toothbrushing and somebody's like doing just something else, but they were studying. They all had laptop, I mean tab provided by the university. So the thing is nowadays we have to be a little bit more easier, I would say, easygoing, as long as
Mhm.
they take what you are saying, as long as they understand what you are saying. So we have to like, oh, it's okay if somebody is a little mischievous or uh, I was used to be a little strict teacher when I was at GCRI.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
because the way I was in my student career, I did the same. But again, if you are more little loving, little encouraging, and more updated, they will respect you a lot. And yeah.
Yeah. So, what kind of trends are going on in cytogenetics presently? Are there any more developments, recent developments, which can be utilized for research work?
So cytogenetics, I would say, it's a gold standard. No matter what, chromosomes are not going anywhere. People were talking when I like started my career. Oh, chromosomes are gonna go, and every molecular technique will take over. No,
Yeah.
never happened that.
Even today they have this thing that you have molecular techniques. Why you want to go for cytogenetics then?
Yeah, no. Cytogenetics gives the global view of genome. It takes whole genome sequencing like around 1 month, 2 months, whereas cytogenetics next day you harvest your cultures, you have all your all 23 pairs of chromosomes, so you have a global view of genome. Fish is the fastest technique, I would say. Once you know what you are looking for, you can use any probes. You can, and cell to cell basis analysis is possible. And extension of cytogenetic is microarray. So microarrays in field. There is another technique. What was that? Bionano. Bionano has some OGM, optical genome mapping. So that's a new technique which is really good. It can detect the translocations, fusions, and those kind of things. And then again, cytogenetics gives the platform to the molecular biology, I would say, because in love with cytogenetics. But yes, well, if you don't have chromosome, how you are gonna go to the gene level, right? So
Yeah,
that's the platform. You go from there, and that's the way you understand more molecular biology. This is my perception as a
yeah,
cytogeneticist.
yeah. And
I
same
don't
way.
like pipetting because I'm not against, but it's all about pipetting, and then you bioinformatician does their part, and you just correlate. Whereas chromosomes, you see what you have.
Yeah,
You see like that pattern is fascinating. It's very beautiful to see those chromosomes and fish signals like red, green is beautiful.
yeah, yeah, that's really true. And because you had been working into cancer also, so any presently upcoming trends in cancer cytogenetic area?
In cancer cytogenetics, I would say every single case is important. You have to report to the global literature because sometimes we think, it's just a case report, it's an observational study. Yeah. But any unique case, any novel cases are very, very important for the future targeted therapy, I would say, because it's an era of personalized therapy. If you have this translocation, you go for this therapy. If you have amplification, you go for this therapy, those kind of things. So any novel cases are the key thing in cytogenetics field, I would say, that gives the
Okay.
more molecular insight to detect and characterize that breakpoints and genes present on and the fusion or whatever abnormality is right there, which because now once the Gleevec was been established as a targeted therapy, first therapy, it gave like a huge different ways to for the scientists to work on different targets. So that's the thing. It's evolving every day. Every day you see, like if you go to clinicaltrials.com or .gov, you will see different trials are still running, like for multiple myeloma, for this, for that. So every day it's a new therapy coming up because it's a personalized therapy. Every translocation, every
Yeah.
genome deviation, you have a therapy. So that's the trend right now.
Okay. And can you suggest some good resources for cytogenetics and cancer genetics? Those students who are aspiring that I would like to also make a career in cytogenetics. So what they should keep on looking for, the updates.
So number one is Atlas of Genetics and Cytogenetics. It's available online where you can select particular chromosome and then it shows up the most recurrent cytogenetic changes. And when you click that, it will show you what genes are present, in which all epidemiological studies and genes present, what is the treatment outcome, everything about in a short form. So which is very, I always use that atlas. Second thing is Mittelman database of chromosome aberrations. It's online database. If you find something novel translocation or novel aberration, you can hit search on that particular database and it will give you whether it's been reported in the literature before or not. So that's the way you come to know, like, oh, this is the novel translocation, so you can publish that paper on basis of that database. There are certain books, Cancer Cytogenetics by Mittelman, um, Verma and Babu book, the basic book of cytogenetics. Many books are available online nowadays, like if they want to read. Recently, I got like this author is really nice. I would say Siddharth Mukherjee.
I'll
Um,
just
yeah, Song of the Cell. So he has a very good series on different books, so which is really nice, which gives little encouragement to understand the subject. It's like as a novel, but still it's very beautiful book.
yeah,
So
and I think he has published a number of books. He has series of it.
yeah, yeah.
A series of it. Yeah.
Emperor of the All Maladies, Cancer, Genes, this one. So just keep reading books, nice books, even book by T.C. Shu, Historical Perspective of Cytogenetics is really beautiful book. Actually, when I read that book when I was in my early career stage, it gave me like, oh, everything happened in cytogenetic was incidental. Even invention of hypertonic. Attack by mistake made some wrong concentration of the reagent and chromosome got separated. So even PHA, Dr. Novel was using something PHA for agglutination's purpose, and then he found that, oh, this makes lymphocytes to lymphoblast thing, and how that happened, and that's how the PHA was being invented in cytogenetics. So that gave like for all constitutional studies, you do the stimulated cultures. So that's the thing. So even mistakes sometimes are very helpful
Yeah,
in
yeah.
research. So that's
Science
the
has
thing.
that thing, yeah.
Yes.
Discoveries are out of sometimes coincidental
Yeah.
things happening around. And
Mhm.
would you suggest some good journals to our listeners?
Journals, I would say I like Cancer Genetics, and now it's Cancer Genetics, Genes, Chromosome, and Cancer. Blood is a good journal to know if you have in your library to know about new therapies. How, if you have interest in leukemia, many journals are like American Journal of Human Genetics journal, and the ACMG website where they have standards about how you should have you should perform your studies for constitutional microarray. They have nice recommendations and the papers available where you can find all kind of compliance point of view,
Okay,
how you
okay,
should do
okay.
validation and those kind of things. So that's another website you should go for. CAP website also have learning opportunities where you can become a team member, you can get a training, online training. So that's another resource to go for.
Okay, and I have read that you also are member of number of this kind of associations. So, is there any scope for teachers and students to also become a member at an early time period?
Yes, if you go to so recently, I was being appointed as a board of education director as a board of directors for AGT, and that website provides everything for molecular and cytogenetics, where you can find educational tips and what we do, and they have many activities. I think it's very for countries like, I mean, in some there are some lower rates for membership for from if the person is from India or developed countries, and that's a very good resource to get in to know, and you can get connected to the all cytogeneticist.
Oh, that's really wonderful. So, ma'am, it's been like almost an hour we have been talking, and somewhere we have to conclude today's no session. But before ending up the session, I wish you give a final message to our listeners from your journey and from becoming a cytogenetist who is aspiring to make a career or growing themselves into their profession. What would be your final message for them?
So before I say final message, I first of all want to thank to Association of Zoology for giving me this opportunity, to you to make this happen, to Dr. and Professor Devendra C. Jala to encourage me to be in this interview. Also, I like to say that success is not me, it's we. And we comes from family. In my family, my uncle Rajendra Brahmbhatt, just he sponsored my whole career, I would say that. My husband, my son, my grandmother, then I would say teachers, the most dedicated, loving teachers, passionate teachers, then my classmates, my friends, my best friends, um, co-workers and institutes and university where I got this education. And the take home message, I would say, love what you do, give your 100% with full dedication, keep trying, and don't quit, have faith.
So wonderful. So, friends, I hope you have enjoyed today's session. If you want to remain connected to AOZ, you can see there is an scroll going on for our Instagram and Facebook. do like, subscribe our YouTube channel. You can re-listen to our today's session. It would be there on our YouTube channel, and we plan to bring more and more. So we wait for your comments, and we wait for your response, so that we can improvise the sessions to come forward. So this is how the no session of success stories of zoology alumni would be put forth to you, with every time getting a new alumni and sharing their journey directly onto our platform, so that you come to know that how people grow, if no, and how a zoologist can also become a successful person, maybe in zoo, maybe in aquarium, maybe in the laboratory.
Yeah.
So you have a place in the subject, and the subject can really bring a different kind of platform for you. So don't give up, and keep working with lot of hope and positivity towards your subject. Zoology does really good to everybody all around, and to you as well. So on that note, Manisha madam, thank you so much. It has been so much wonderful talking to you. You were a combination of scientist and empowered women, and a zoologist, who has made us proud, going abroad and establishing labs in another country, that to a developed nation, an Indian making a good place over there. It's not a small thing at all, and we are really proud to have you onto our association as a member, and as well as today's platform. So it was so much delightful to talk to you, and we look forward to have your sessions also online. So someday we would like to have a program wherein you actually tell about microarray or cytogenetics with respect to cancer, and we
Mhm.
would invite you for that kind of a talk, rather than talking about your journey. So on that note, thank you so much. Good night everybody, and thank you ma'am. See you once again
Thank
into
you.
another platform. Thank
It
you
was
so
my
much.
pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Have a great day
Thank you.
and
Good
good
night.
night.
Goodbye.
Namaste.
Namaste.